Determine the viewing window that's being used in the image below. Here we have the screen of a graphing calculator where the horizontal axis is the x-axis and the vertical axis is the y-axis. The viewing window is the way that we describe where the x values start and stop and where the y values start and stop. And the x and y scale indicates how many units are represented with each tick mark. So we say the viewing window here is going to have a minimum x value at -9 and a maximum x value of +9. Since there are 3 tick marks along this x-axis that get us over to +9, that means that we're jumping by 3s, and so we say that the x scale is equal to 3. And when we go off into the negative x direction, we also see that we're jumping by 3s. So the x scale is consistent along the entire x-axis. Along the y-axis, we can see that the y minimum is -12, the y maximum is +4, and since we have 3 tick marks in the direction of y to get us to 12, 12 divided by 3 is 4, and that means that we're jumping by 4s to get us down to this -12, and again, we only have 1 tick mark in the positive y direction, which is consistent with a jump by 4 units, and that means that our y scale is 4. So this is the viewing window for our image, but the way that we would write this in a more compact way is with a bracket notation. And inside these brackets, first of all, we're going to have everything that is in regard to the x-axis. And then we open up another bracket that's going to contain everything that deals with the values on the y-axis. For the x values, we start with the x minimum, we go to the x maximum, and then the third number is going to indicate this x scale. We do this again for the y values. We start with the y minimum, and then we have the y maximum, and the third number is again going to indicate the y scale. So this is our preferred way of writing the viewing window. Let's look at another example here. As we can see in the direction of x, the minimum x value is -5, the maximum x value is 25, and in order to determine the scale, we're going to count the number of tick marks that we have to get us to that 25. There are 1, 2, 3, 4. This last one counts as 5 tick marks, so we're taking that 25 and dividing it by 5, which tells us that the scale must be 5, and we're jumping by 5s to get out to the maximum value of 25. And we can see also that a jump by 5 gets us to the minimum value of -5. In the direction of y, we have a y minimum of -6, a y maximum of +10, and then we count the tick marks to determine what that jump value is. And since we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tick marks in the direction of y, that means we're jumping by 2s to get up to that maximum value of 10, and notice that a jump by 2 is also going to get us down to this minimum value of -6. So the scale in the direction of y is 2. Now this box version of the viewing window is pretty big, so a more compact way of writing that viewing window is to open a bracket and begin with the x quantities, starting with the minimum x value, the maximum x value, and the scale in the direction of x. Then we write the word by in between these brackets and say that the minimum y value is -6, the maximum y value is 10, and the y scale is 2. So this is our preferred way of writing that viewing window. The standard viewing window is one where the minimum x value is -10, the maximum x value is 10, and we have a scale of 1. The minimum y value is -10, the maximum y value is +10, and this scale in the direction of y is +1. This would give us a Cartesian plane where we are looking at -10 to 10 in the direction of y, -10 to 10 in the direction of x, and each one of these tick marks represents 1 unit.